Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank everyone for coming out to our regular meeting, March 19th, 2026. The invocation will be led by School Board Member Nathan Russ, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Cadet Private Manuel, I apologize, of Liberty High School, accompanied by Sergeant First Class Retired Andrew Bradford. Can you all please stand?
Please pray with me. Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your blessings and for all the goodness that you bring into our lives. We pray that we would appreciate and thank you for those things. We pray your blessing over our children and over our community. And we pray that you would help this board understand your will for our families and for the children of East Baton Rouge Parish. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Good evening, esteemed members of the East Baton Rouge School Board and Superintendent Lamont Cole. I'm Sergeant First Class Andrew Bradford from Liberty Magna High School, JROTC. It is my distinct honor to introduce one of the most dedicated JROTC cadets of the Patriot Battalion. Cadet Private Manil Chandali Hashimi is a dedicated junior at Liberty Magna High School who consistently demonstrates excellence both academically and through leadership, maintaining an impressive 4.3 GPA while enrolled in rigorous AP and honor courses. She exemplifies a strong commitment and discipline in her studies. Beyond the classroom, Manel is highly involved in JROTC program where she contributes as a member of the Raider team, color guard team, and the drill team. Notably, she stands out as one of the female ultimate raiders, showcasing both physical endurance and leadership. Her academic and extracurricular achievement extends to serving as president of the French Honor Society, as well as an active member in the Bader Club. Recognizing her for dedication and outstanding performance, Manil was honored as East Baton Rouge Elite 1 Cadet of the Year, reflecting her commitment to excellence and service. Ladies and gentlemen, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, Cadet Private Manil Chandali Hashimi of the Liberty Magna High School, Patriot Battalion.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On behalf of the Superintendent and the School Board, we'd like to present you this medal, congratulate you on all your outstanding accomplishments, and wishing you success in the future. Come on, Mom. Here, I'll let you get mad. There you go. Congratulations.
And thank you. Madam Secretary, can you please make a roll call?
District 4, President Stewart.
Present.
District 5, Vice President Lewis.
Present.
District 1, Mr. Blue.
Here.
District 2, Mr. Lannis. District 3, Ms. Powell Lewis.
Present.
District 6, Mr. Russ.
Present.
District 7, Mr. Gode.
Here.
District 8, Ms. Sule.
Here.
District 9, Mr. Martin. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Moving along to item B, meeting minutes. Approval of the school board minutes of the February 5th, 2026 Committee of the Whole meeting and the February 19th, 2026 regular board meeting as published in the official journal. Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Mr. Gode,
Go to public.
and I have a second by Mr. Martin. Gode and Martin.
President Stewart, did you go to the public for comment on that?
I hadn't done it yet.
Okay.
Any, and I don't have any note cards. Are there any comments that anybody would like to speak on the meeting minutes? I don't have any cards, so, and if anybody would like to speak, you can get a card and you can still come up. But if not, we're gonna move along. All those in favor of the meeting minutes, say aye. Aye. All those in opposition? Madam Secretary.
Please vote. Yeah, roll call. He's having fun.
Can you do a roll call?
Mr. Blue,
Yes.
Mr. Lannis, Ms. Powell Lewis,
Yes.
President Stewart,
Yes.
Vice President Lewis,
Yes.
Mr. Russ,
Yay.
Mr. Gode,
Yes.
Ms. Sule,
Yes.
Mr. Martin. Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving along to item C, information only, monthly financial report and personnel changes. Now we move to item D, receive as information, and this goes to our lovely superintendent.
Thank you, Madam President, Vice President Lewis, members of the board, those of you who are here, and members who are watching from home, thank you so much for being with us for another school board meeting, and thank you for allowing me to serve as superintendent for another 30 days. This is my 17th month of service. It remains an honor to lead this district, and together we can go higher. Last week marked the end of the 39 weeks, the midpoint of our second semester, and the district staff continue to center their efforts on the core commitments of our strategic plan, which are student achievement, operational excellence, and employee development. Under the area of student achievement, as statewide testing season begins, I've challenged all staff to anchor our efforts in guiding the framework of grow, achieve, and thrive. I want to make sure everyone at home understands that the state is moving to a new accountability assessment system. So the assessment system we've used for the last 12 to 13 years has changed. Our students are now going to be exposed to a different assessment cycle, and it's going to be graded differently. So as we may see some declines in some of the scores, as the data has shown us over the years, when there is a change in the way we assess our students, initially there's a decline, but I can assure you we have been working extremely hard to ensure that we grow, we achieve, and we thrive. Every department is aligning its work stream to meet the expectations of the state's new accountability system. We have a Grow 50 initiative that continues to focus on the bottom 25% of learners and our designated support schools. District teams are strategically pushing into school sites every day, serving as tutors, instructional supports, extended intervention partners, as well as supervisors for transition during lunchtime, as well as moving to class, to boost readiness and spring testing. For spring testing, the supports enable us to both guide and monitor student growth with precision as we approach the year-end goals. Our spring assessment season is already underway. Throughout March, students are completing the ACT and alternative assessments for special population. DIBELS and LEAP 2025 officially open statewide on April 1st. School leaders will continue sharing campus-specific testing schedules with families in the coming weeks, and our cross-departmental district assessment teams meet weekly to ensure strong preparation across all schools. We will go higher. I am proud to report news regarding the early childhood investments through a combined $1.1 million investment from the Baton Rouge Area Foundation, the Wilson Foundation, and a dollar-for-dollar match from the Louisiana Department of Education. We're expanding high-quality early childhood seats. This ensures more of our younger learners enter kindergarten fully ready to learn and to succeed. I want to thank our community partners whose efforts strengthen our classrooms. Tonight, I want to spotlight Port of Baton Rouge for their ongoing literacy support in several priority schools. Their commitment continues to enrich early literacy instruction in school environments. We know academic readiness is only one component of true test preparedness. As of last month, over 13,114 mental health sessions have been provided to students across our district, supporting needs to address anger management, depression, and behavioral challenges. For increased focus on positive attendance outcomes, our newly strengthened task board is providing targeted interventions in elementary schools with the highest levels of chronic absenteeism. We're grateful for their partnership as we work to ensure students are present, supported, and ready to learn. We look forward to our EBR Sports Championship on March 28, a celebration of digital citizenship, teamwork, and student engagement. You will see shortly in an upcoming presentation that we are launching a refreshed external-facing district website featuring data dashboards aligned to our strategic plan. Internally, we have also launched a new J-Campus scorecard giving principals and teachers a clear real-time accountability and intervention tool supporting our mission to grow, achieve, and thrive. Earlier today, we held a student advisory meeting with the Northdale Academy students. My staff and I always value hearing directly from our students, and their insights continue to grow and improve the work. They had some very, very thoughtful comments and ideas about how we can improve our district. It's always a pleasure to be with and speak to our students. Under the area of operational excellence, as we enter into the final quarter of the school year, our commitment to operational excellence remains steadfast. Our transportation department continues to streamline operations to identify transportation and maintenance efficiencies by shifting more repairs in-house teams and benefiting from newly negotiated parts pricing. These changes are supported by our real-time maintenance shop dashboard, which strengthens tracking and accountability for work orders. Upgrades at the ESS transfer lot are also underway to improve district-wide logistics. Facilities and infrastructure modernization engagement continue. District-wide facility evaluations by Fusion Architects are now being integrated with Google Maps to provide enhanced long-term site planning and facility management. Security enhancements continue to be addressed. Security audits have now been completed at 8 of our high schools. These reviews guide the next phase of our district-wide safety enhancements. Additionally, we have progressed into phase 4 and 5 of the visitor management system rollout and released updated security guidelines for athletic events and for entry into administrative sites. The financial modernization work streams continue through transitions to systems, including citywide and core pay, improving efficiency and reducing manual processes across departments. Under the area of employee development, high-quality targeted professional development continues to serve the cornerstone of our district progress. Professional development highlights include the following. Our district-wide Teacher in Service Day on March 16th was a tremendous success. We are grateful for the strong participation and engagement in many of our professional learning opportunities offered. Educators engage in asynchronous models, live virtual sessions, and in-person sessions across multiple locations. While there are numerous topics to spotlight, I'd like to mention 2 tonight. Staff from our newly formed foundational learning centers participated in a joint professional learning with the Louisiana Department of Education and the district literacy team. Educators engaged in internalization aligned to the end of the year literacy expectations, strengthening early literacy practices. District nurses participated in critical health training focused on adrenal insufficiency, addressing the rising medical needs across student populations. Within the Transportation Department, we continue to expand, promote pathways and career ladders for technicians, support retention and skill advancement. Teachers continue to benefit from XR STAR STEM grants, which support innovative classroom practices throughout the school year. Our final teacher advisory meeting of the year was held on March 17th. I want to thank every educator who participated and contributed their leadership and their insight. Tonight, we have a number of presentations from our partners, one from our school and one about our dashboard that I'm excited about. First up, we're going to hear from Junior Achievement, who has been a partner in this work, providing financial literacy education across our schools. And so we always want to hear an update and learn how our students are faring on how to spend their own money.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
While we're pulling up the presentation, so wanted to start off, as most of you know, 3 pillars: workforce development, financial literacy, and entrepreneurship. We have had an amazing year with your students. They are really thriving with Junior Achievement. Lots of new programs, new experiences for them, but most importantly, more immersive experiences. So they're having hands-on experiences with those mentors, which is super exciting for us. This next slide, this is our numbers from the 24-25 school year. And these are up there. Obviously, the school year is not over yet, but we are trending to exceed where we were last year, which is exciting for us. The more we can serve in EBR, the better. So very well received. The next slide is a few pictures of some of our programs, which have been phenomenal. The superintendent and his team have been very helpful in ensuring all the students are getting access to Junior Achievement. The next slide we're going to show you is, part of what Junior Achievement does. We have now almost a $1.3 million budget. Part of that is EBR does make a contribution to that, which is extremely appreciated. But with that huge budget, we are raising the majority of that money through corporate gifts, through grants, and so forth. And so as you'll see on the screen, 51% of our budget is used towards EBR school systems alone. Next slide. We have our new program, which is piloting next week, which is JA Trades, and that's where our 6th grade students have taken curriculum in the classroom, learning about workforce development skills and also the trades that are happening in our market. So what they're doing is they're taking those lessons and then they'll come to ABC Pelican next week. And when they come in, there's 17 vendors that are giving them different experiences where they go around and experience the different trades, trying on safety equipment. They're doing experiments, tons of different activities for them. So that's our newest program that we have, which we're excited about. You're all familiar with the JA in a Day, which our cadet was here earlier with Liberty High. She actually instructed one of the JA days, which was an extremely good experience because it's coming for full circle. The Discovery Center Mobile is going off without a hitch. The BizTown is exploding. The kids are loving it and running that city and having a ball. And the Finance Park, Miss Carla Powell-Lewis can attest. She was actually one that actually went through the simulation with Finance Park, and I'm proud to say she knows how to budget her money, but she did realize it was tough. So Finance Park is going very well also. Leading Ladies and Mentoring Men, those are a powerhouse. We've got over 1,000 volunteers that we work with the students, bringing them in and getting the students to actually be able to ask real world questions and get advice from other individuals. And then last but not least, the financial literacy mandate, which has been tremendous, and that's offered across the parish for all schools. So then this next slide is a quick little video.
It all starts with a light bulb moment. It's the moment a Junior Achievement of Greater Baton Rouge kids sees what's possible and finds their path. You see, no matter where you begin in life, Junior Achievement of Greater Baton Rouge opens doors to opportunity through hands-on learning. We inspire and prepare students to succeed in a global economy by teaching financial literacy through work readiness and entrepreneurship. So, one day you won't need to worry about making ends meet. There'll be a banker managing wealth for their entire community. One day, they won't only construct the buildings, they'll own the company that builds them. One day, they'll perform life-saving surgeries because they have gained the skills to work in a life to man. And one day, they'll stand in a classroom in front of students, or like the one they grew up in, to inspire the next generation. Junior Achievement sparks the creativity and confidence kids need to form their futures. Through real-world preparation, we impact thousands of students and businesses across Greater Baton Rouge every year. Junior Achievement of Greater Baton Rouge kids are more likely to earn college degrees and have higher wages and start businesses. We help them see what's possible, and it just takes that one light bulb moment. Junior Achievement of Greater Baton Rouge is committed to preparing students for the business of life.
All right, so
Because one day is to
with that said, I also wanted to mention Larry Celestine is my partner out here in the audience, and he does most of the work with EBR schools. So thank you for allowing Junior Achievement to be part of what you all are doing to raise amazing students. We do have our MOU that we submitted in January. So that's out there, and when that's up for renewal, we hope that you will continue to consider Junior Achievement. Any questions?
No, but we thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
You'll have a great
Okay,
night.
so Mr. Godet is in the queue. Okay.
Yes.
Just a very quick one. You mentioned the MOU being up, and one of the things that we've been trying to do is get a little bit more in front of some of these things, so community groups like yourselves can start planning and working on their resources and stuff for the next year. So I just wanted to highlight the fact that MOU is in there, and my understanding is it's for exact same amount as it is today, so no increases or anything like that. So I would just encourage us to work with our community partners, particularly those who are funding a lot of the work externally from the school district, to try to help them with their timelines to get their resources in line. So thank you very, very much for all the good work that you guys are doing.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the partnership and appreciate the effort. Next, we're going to hear from one of our outstanding school leaders who I have known over 20 years from her time as a leader at the State Department of Education. We were able to recruit her to come and serve as one of our school leaders in one of our schools. So at this time, we're going to hear from Tavarin Ross, who is the principal at La Belle Aire Elementary. Let's give her a round of applause.
Good evening, everyone. As Superintendent Cole said, I am Tavarin Ross, the principal of the La Belle Aire Elementary School in the Broadmoor-Sherwood area. Executive Director, Demetric Alexander, School Board Representative, Madam President, and we are the home to about 421 amazing students in EBR. I'm a little nervous. We have, again, 421 students. We're comprised of about 53% African American, 43% Hispanic students, 31% of those that are English language learners. We like to think of ourselves as a hidden gem in the district. I'm just going to tell you about my journey as principal. I became principal at La Belle Aire Elementary in 2019. On my first day of school, my father passed away. Shortly after, we moved quickly into an unprecedented way of learning during COVID. As a new leader, first-year principal, I wondered, how am I going to lead a school from my home? I worked with my team. We developed systems. We deployed Chromebooks. We trained teachers on platforms. We helped parents get students online. And our teachers showed up in a way that I can't even imagine or could have imagined that they would show up. Of course, during that year, during COVID, we did not receive a school performance score. So I had the school SPS hanging over my head. We went into the next year, 8 of my teachers were promoted to literacy coaches in the district. My assistant principal at the time was promoted to a district coach. So I kind of felt like my legs were taken from up under me. But I've never been shy of a challenge. And God always has a plan. He sent my partner in crime, well, I say my partner in this work, Dr. Faith Brooks. She's here along with some of my teammates, Latasha Sanfie, my instructional. Dr. Brooks and Latasha Sanfie, my instructional coach. Thank you guys for coming out and supporting me. They knew I was a little nervous. So she came along and we put our heads together and we developed systems and procedures on how now to run a school, have hybrid, have face-to-face. Again, trying to support teachers with COVID restrictions, but we managed to do it. Again, the teachers showed up. And in 2021, we received a simulated score of 51.3. It didn't count for the state, but it counted for us because what it told us is, hey, if we can do this with students halfway in the building, halfway at the house, what's gonna happen and what's possible when all of them are in the building? So that next year, our math teachers got promoted to math coaches. So we said, wait a minute, we have to develop a system and a pipeline of teachers that once someone leaves, the system still flows uninterrupted. So we started identifying teacher leaders, those that can help us carry this work. And as we did that, we provided intense training to our teachers during teacher collaboration meetings, looking at data, letting that data drive our next steps in the school. And at the end of the school year, the scores came out and we solidified that D. So now you can't tell us anything. So again, we started, as we always do, we look at the experience that's in our building. We pull up on those strengths of our teachers, put other teachers in front of teachers because that's what they learn best from, giving them that platform to be school leaders. And that's what we continue to do and put systems in place in our school. And in 2022, 23, we did it again. And then in 23, 24, we did it again and we moved our school to a C. It didn't seem like much to other people, but when you, in the population and the challenges that we face in our community, it was something to be very proud of. And I just want to highlight some of the things that we are very proud of from this past school year where we grew 3.4 points. We were the 7th highest school ranked in the district of English language learners growth. 2nd in the district among schools, elementary schools that have 100+ ELs. So we are very excited about that. We removed all of our comprehensive intervention required labels from our school. And we only have one UIR, which is urgent intervention required for our ESS kids, and their performance score is a D, and we moved them from an F to a D, and we're going to continue to grow them as well. I always capture our data because I'm a very visual person. There's this song that we started from the bottom, now we're here. So we're here, and how do we keep going? And it's simple. We build a pipeline of teachers. We have a lot of young teachers that we are training to carry on this work for us. We embody the philosophy of no excuses. Language barriers, now what? Teacher vacancies, now what? We still have students in the building and the work still has to happen. So we lead by example. We set a culture of excellence. We model what we expect. On any given day, if you drop into our school, you will see this entire instructional leadership team teaching classes on duty. You will see us interacting with our kids, loving on them. You will see us working in the cafeteria, picking up trash. We love our school, we love our children, and that's the culture and the attitude that we put before teachers to embrace and embody. And as you can see, with the hard work of our teachers, although our mastery and our mastery percentages are not high, if you look at the number of students in our school that are growing, ELA 52.3%, and math 35.8%. And our bottom 25%, as the superintendent mentioned about the new accountability system, they're looking at those students. 57% of those students are growing. 50% in math. And our English language learner students are growing at a rate almost 50% of 139 ELs that have to take that test. That's a lot to be proud of. We are proud of our B rating growth at La Bel Air. With our dibbles, again, the numbers aren't grand, but you can see from last year to this year, we are progressing in the right direction for meeting foundational needs of our students in the lower grades. And I love this song, All We Do Is Win. These are just a few little highlights from our school. In 24-25 school year, we were three-peat district soccer champs. We got tired of winning, so we let Broadmoor win this year. Also during that year, that was the first year that we did esports, and our students were district champs. Their teacher went viral. Their principal went viral on TikTok for Boots in the Classroom. And as you can see to my right, this is my phenomenal dream team: Augusta Caesar, myself, Dr. Brooks, Latasha Sanfi, along with my staff, my students, my parents, my custodians, my cafeteria workers. We at La Bel Air make the impossible possible. Thank you for allowing us to share our story.
Thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. Ms. Carl Paula Lewis.
Thank you, Ms. Ross, for sharing your story. And although you were nervous, you did an excellent job. Thank you. I just wanted to ask two questions, and one, well, both of them, I think I researched these topics as a hobby. But one is in regards to teacher retention. You mentioned having a pipeline as far as supporting teachers, and I just thought about the philosophy of if you don't feed the teachers will eat the students.
Yes.
And I know you mentioned about there being some positive transitions, but what are some, if you could speak to any principal that is struggling with maintaining teacher retention and maintaining a positive culture amongst their teachers at their school, what would you say, if you don't mind me asking?
Having an open door policy with your teachers, being visible, number one. Teachers need to see that principals are doing the work and they're not just giving out directions. They want to see them in the trenches with them. That makes them appreciate their leaders more and make them want to work for leaders like that.
Thank you. And then the other is just simply, I know you talked about the barriers with your ELL population and how they have a heavy presence on your campus. So I wanted to ask, what does family engagement look like? You know, what are some of the barriers and some of the successes that you've seen in getting the families involved? Because that's a major tenet of running a successful school, and that's also a major issue that we have in our district, is getting PTOs, PTAs, families, parents involved.
With our Hispanic communities, we have built a trust among them. We have our ESL teachers, one, Ms. Hinojosa, provides free teaching English courses to those parents so that they can assist. So we are very visible with the community. We make them feel welcome. They have a presence where their voice is heard in our building, and they show up for us. During this ICE surge that we had a lot of vacancies. They were scared. It was scary for them, but they trusted us to get the students back in the building. My team deployed into the community and we walk the students to school in Groves. We have about 300 walkers in my community. We're a true community school. So when we get out in the trenches with them, they felt safe. They wouldn't come out, but they trusted their kids with us. And that says volumes for the leadership that we have at our school and the relationships that we build within the community.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Lewis.
Thank you for an excellent presentation. I didn't know you were going to present today, but just so happened I was looking at your data today. You know, we lean extremely hard on dibbles.
Yes.
And I was looking at your growth in dibbles. Tremendous growth. Last year you grew 21 points.
Yes, sir.
The year there was just a 22, 23, you grew 13 points. Not a lot of growth the next year, but you knocked it out the park, 24, 25. Excellent job.
Thank you.
And with your high EL population and all the things that you've just talked about that you guys are doing, you may be writing the book for this district, how we go about, you know, engaging our EL population, because you have a large population of EL students. They're doing well in your building. So maybe some other people might need to come visit you just to see exactly what you're doing.
The door is welcome. It's open at the bell. Everybody's welcome.
I'm going to come visit myself.
Come visit.
Okay.
We would love that.
Thank you so much for what you're doing.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ms. Ross. Keep up the excellent work. One of the strategic implementations that we've discussed as a board and team on the implementation of dashboards. And so we're excited about our new dashboard. And so Ms. Okonski is going to come up and talk about the accountability dashboard. Ms. Okonski.
Thank you, Mr. Call, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for affording me the opportunity to share some exciting things with you, and we hope you enjoy what I'm about ready to show you tonight as much as we've enjoyed putting it together for you. We're calling this a dashboard refresh. If you remember when we were together back in November, we looked at our KPIs. Mr. Hedrick from Lean Frog joined us with some of the work that he had done for us. Well, now what you're about ready to start seeing is some of the outputs of those collaborations. So the purpose tonight is to promote transparency, to show our alignment to our strategic plan, and to provide our public and our community and our partners with access to key information about our school system. We're calling this a refresh of our new data hub. By the way, our friend Ember here on the screen will alert you to the web address. So as I present tonight, feel free to explore ebrschools.org/data. As always, our work is aligned to our strategic plan. So you'll see our web page is aligned in a similar fashion, where we're emphasizing student achievement, operational excellence, and employee development. So here are the key things that we're touching on this refresh. We're emphasizing the key performance indicators that you guys visited back in November and our alignment to the strategic plan. We are launching today data profiles that are interactive and engaging, not only for the district, by individual school. We're also talking about student-centered dashboards in our academic areas that received a refresh, operational area dashboards, and new employee development data dashboards. So we're going to take a minute to watch a video that'll give you a brief overview. If my friends in the back can help us here.
Let's take a quick tour of the new East Baton Rouge Parish Schools Data Hub. Ever wonder how our schools are really doing and wanted a simple, clear answer? Well, we've totally revamped our website to make district data accessible and transparent for everyone. It's all about transparency, really, putting key information right in your hands. Right on the homepage, you'll find big picture stats like enrollment and graduation rates. Now, what's really cool is how this data connects directly to our district's strategic plan. Every metric is built around our 3 main goals for student achievement, operations, and employees. See these little icons? Think of them as shortcuts, taking you right to that specific data. Okay, so that's the district view. Now let's find info about your specific school. You can use this cool interactive map to find any school, or just type in the name. Just move your mouse over a school to get a quick snapshot of its basic info. And with just one click, Bam! You're looking at a full school profile with all the key data. Each profile is broken down into easy-to-use tabs for academics, culture, operations, and more. And this is huge. We show trend data, so you can actually track progress over time. But if you really want to dig deep, there are these amazing interactive dashboards. You can dive into academic achievement or see how enrollment trends look across the whole district. You can also check on school climate data, like attendance, and even see our financial reports. We're also totally transparent about employee data, including teacher pay and where we rank statewide. Look, this tool isn't static. It's a living resource, and it's built for you, our community. So we really hope you'll dive in, click around, and see what you find. Ready to explore? You can find everything we just showed you right at this address. So the real question is, what will you discover?
So we hope you will take advantage of our website and discover with us. And tonight what I want to do is just kind of dive in and spotlight a few key areas for you. So as you continue to peruse tonight or later on, you can give us some feedback. The first is, are the web pages aligned to our strategic plan and the KPIs? You'll see what do we strategically track, and you'll see drop downs there for you. That's where you'll find the KPIs. They have a new home. That's where they will live. Above each drop-down for each area of KPIs, you will see a group of icons that serve as a key. Those icons will tell you what dashboard to go to track that KPI, because some of them overlap. Some of them are on standalone dashboards, others are covered on the district profile and the school profiles. So many of them are covered in multiple areas. The next section is the district and school profiles. As the video showed you, there is a hover map. So if you're not familiar with our school district and you're moving into a new area, you can hover and find the names of schools that might be near you. As you hover on a school, it's going to give a pop-up will give you key information. But maybe you already have the name of your child's school and you want to search it. Or maybe you want to search it by board member district. Up at the top, you'll see the icons for board member district. There's some boxes on the top right-hand corner where you can search by grade configuration, you can search by school name, type, etc. So on these profiles, every profile opens in the exact same format. You'll see a little snapshot of where it lies on the map. You'll see its grade configurations. When you hover over the letter grade and you hover over the enrollment, it's going to give you the trend data for the last 3 to 4 years in those areas. All the way to the right, it'll give you the demographic profile of those students. We're using October 1 counts for each year for this piece. As you go on the academic tab, you will see it's aligned to grow, achieve, and thrive. So at the elementary schools, it'll start with the Dibbles piece. It'll track the growth according to Louisiana Department of Education reports. It'll include your LEAP data for the achieve piece, and then your high schools will have that thrive piece with your ACT, your advanced coursework, etc. As the state continues to build out new reports for Louisiana's changed accountability system, we'll continue to update this and add features on that academic tab. To the middle there is a school culture and climate tab. That's where you'll find your attendance, your truancy, things of that nature, discipline. All the way to the right, you have an operations area. That's where you'll find your building information, the condition of the building, the occupancy rate, and the Title I funding for each school. So when you get down to our interactive dashboards below our profile section, you'll see an academic data dashboard. It's divided into 4 sections. The first tab is your K2, K3, where you'll have your DIBELS and state mandated assessments in literacy. The state will be adding math soon, so as the state builds that piece out, we will add that to our dashboard. The middle section will be grades 3 through 8 with your LEAP data and core content areas, and then the high school piece will have your LEAP and your ACT. All the way to the right, you will see school performance score, district performance score related data. In the middle, our enrollment dashboard not only shows the enrollment of our schools, but it tracks our district as it compares to some statewide peers. The last one is the school climate. It touches on those pieces that I said earlier with your attendance, behavior, etc. Moving on to operational areas, that's where we'll have our facility dashboards, conditions of buildings, age of buildings, occupancy rates, things of that nature. Financial data is, we do have a dashboard on financial data. You see the screenshot here. If you're clicking on it now, we had a technical glitch. It had to be taken down, but rest assured it exists and it will be up shortly. I've already talked to some of you about that. We're working on that piece. We hope to have it up by Monday. The last section is new. The last section is new because we adopted 2 new KPIs for employee data back in November. And so we are tracking the employee compensation, which I know is something important, near and dear to all of your hearts, and near and dear to our hearts as well. And so we're showing the employee compensation for the average classroom teacher over time, as well as the district's rank. All of these are public reports found in the Louisiana Department of Education library, but we know sometimes it can be a little cumbersome and tricky to find this data, so we're trying to put it somewhere where it's quick at your fingertips. The last piece under employee dashboards is the state-required professional development topics for literacy, the science of reading, and mathematics. We are working with the academics team to track that, and we'll provide you regular updates on those status. So what's next? This came out of partnerships with 2 different consultants. We worked with a consultant who trained our internal team on Tableau. You guys approved that contract, I believe, about a year ago. And he has been great in building capacity with our team using what we educators call a gradual release model. I do, we do, now you do. And so we've had fun learning from him and where the tables are turned, where we're the students, and doing group projects together, as you can see with these dashboards. We've also been working with Mr. Hedrick from Leanfrog. We collaborated on a crosswalk of the dashboards that he had built, the dashboards we had built, what were our outstanding areas. And so in this facelift, we did what we call phase 1 of migrating some of that data over. We have a phase 2 and a phase 3. So we will continue to plug in and piece in those missing gaps as we continue our conversations and work with him. And as we stay linked in with the facilities team for the facilities master planning, I want to thank them for inviting us to the table, because as they do their work, we will also fold in some of those outputs as well. So we'll continue to migrate and update identified data points to the site. We'll publish our updates at regular intervals on the academic side. It'll be around October 1, February 1 reporting, and when the state releases those milestones. When your LEAP data comes out, when your school performance data comes out, so forth, probably once or twice a year. So I'll pause there to see if there are any questions. But again, we would invite you to explore and give us some feedback. And we hope that you enjoy working with these as much as we've enjoyed putting them together.
Thank you, Andrea.
Yes, sir.
I would just like to say that is awesome. The new system, it allows you to see everything. We were up here looking at it while you were talking. So I just wanted to tell you that. Kudos. Ms. Sule.
Yes, thank you. I'm very excited about this. So you mentioned that updating will happen twice a year. Is that correct?
Well, we're working on the cadence right now. We know we will have to update when October 1, February 1 comes out, and when your LEAP scores and your school performance scores come out. So right now we're going to work in those categories. As the facilities master plan evolves and we get more of that operational and facilities data, we'll work out the cadence. We have not pushed out a calendar yet, but just know that's something we're working on.
And who actually is doing the actual updates on the website?
So it's a combination between our consultant and in-house team. So as I said, our consultant taught us how to build them. He's working with us to build them. But our webmaster built the website.
Okay.
And our team is working to build these dashboards with our consultant, and that's how they're getting published.
So if there was something that looked like maybe it wasn't completely accurate,
okay,
just
email me and I'll get it to the right people.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. And remember, some of this is October 1 data. Some of this is the last report released by the department. So some of it may lag a little bit.
Mr. Russ.
Ms. Okonski, thank you for the presentation. I'm really, really pleased to see the work that you and your team have put together on this. Hopefully it's work that will make you and your team, your life every day easier, so that when the board or the superintendent catch an itch and want 17 different reports, you can say, just go right here. It's right there. You can go find it, right? Which is what we've had asked for, and what this builds towards. And I think it helps our community have more transparency in looking and being able to really see for themselves. If they have a question about chronic absenteeism or a particular school's performance, they can go and they have that at their fingertips. And I think that's really important in a public school system. So thank you for your work on this.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mr. Lewis.
Thank you, Andrea. It was wonderful. You just gave me my new favorite toy
Thank you.
to play with now with all the data.
And actually, Mr. Russ, what you just said happening today, Board Member Lewis called Andrea and said, I need about 22 different reports by 5 o'clock tonight. And she said, well, why don't you just go to the dashboard? And he was able to do so, and so it's working exactly as you just said.
Ms. Lewis.
Thank you so much, Ms. Okonski. Just to kind of tag on to Ms. Sule's question, she asked about who in-house kind of led this work or is maintaining this for us. And I know that you mentioned that your team was, but you also mentioned that our webmaster is the one who developed this.
He built the web page.
So I just wanted to say thank you to him.
Absolutely.
And thank you to your team as well, and to our technology team, because you guys are always on it no matter, and yes, I see you back there, Amy. No matter what we ask, you make sure that you bring it and you bring it correctly. And that was one of the things that I just wanted to share that I appreciate, because I know our first 2 years or so on this board, we were asking for transparent data, and you would continue to provide it for us. But this allows us to be able to operate on our own a little bit and grow from kindergarten on up. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Mr. Gode?
Thank you. Great job, by the way. I just want to reflect back to when I first came on the board in 2017. To me, coming in, it looked like all of the operations in the school district was inside of a black box that no one could delve into or figure out. And you know, a lot of people have questioned, why did we spend money on computer systems? Why did we spend money on new financial systems? Why are we doing all these things? And I think this shows the reason why. And to me, there are two key parts of this. What you don't measure, you can't improve. And, you know, one of the big things we're trying to do is really improve across the district in all these aspects. And the second thing is there was a lack of trust of the district. And, you know, this goes back to before I got on the board in 2017. There was a lack of trust that no one knew what the information was, no one knew where the data was coming from, no one knew how it's put together. And to me, one of the biggest things, not the biggest, but one of the biggest things systems like this do is build trust in the community for what we're doing. We say we're going to do it. We're going to show you how we're doing it. We're going to show you the results. And here it is. You can look at everything. And to me, that goes a long, long way toward building that trust and confidence that the community has in us as we try to really improve our school district. So I commend you. I also commend the superintendent and the past people who have been here for the great job that they've done. And this is another step forward in the process. I want to keep going,
Absolutely.
but it's another step forward in the progress, and the job well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gode.
Thank you, Ms. Okonski. Continue to keep up the excellent work.
Thank you, sir.
As this will be our last meeting prior to spring break and the Easter holiday, I would like to remind everyone that students will be out from April 3rd through April 10th, 2026, and the district offices will be closed on Good Friday, April 3rd, and then April 6th and 9th for spring break. Let me say before we move to the consent agenda, the hot topic of the evening is later start times. And as we talk about later start times, you know, I want to encourage people to be as extremely critical and harsh as you choose to on the issue, but you don't have to be extremely harsh on individuals. We are working extremely hard to make decisions we believe to be the best for the school system, be the best for our children. Tonight's vote is not about later start times for any particular school. As we think about the next 2.5 years of my tenure, 3 school years, 26, 27, and 28, we have to think about budgetary constraints and some of the things we are trying to accomplish. We are seeking to provide a raise for teachers. We're seeking to streamline transportation, provide straight routes for students. We're thinking about operations. How do we upgrade facilities? We're going to continue to build new schools. We have to think long-term about how do we efficiently spend our money spend the taxpayer dollar while continuing to implement the initiatives of the strategic plan. I cannot do that in a vacuum. I have to think long-term. So the request to phase in later start times over 3 years is about how do we fiscally plan long-term to financially put in our schools what we know are going to help our students to be successful. And as I said at the last meeting, before we attempt to do anything at any school, we want to go and hear from the community and hear from the teachers and hear from the individuals at the schools about the plans we have. We did that on Tuesday night. We went and we had a meeting at Bel Air High School to talk about the changes. That is not the vote tonight, however. And then at Bel Air on Tuesday night, there were 2 teachers in particular who were very, very vocal and extremely concerned about the changes. I went back on the next day, Adam and I, and Mr. Gilbert, and we found those teachers to sit and talk to them a little bit more, because I'm very interested in hearing from all of our stakeholders relative to the decisions we're going to make. But I want to make sure we understand tonight's vote is not about any particular school or any changes that we're making at a school. Tonight's vote is about giving me the authority as the CEO of this company, is the way I like to frame it, to make long-term fiscal strategic plans that we know A, are going to help our students be successful, but B, not bankrupt the district and not put us up against the wall and making decisions at the last minute. So we want to think long-term. We want to think strategically. We want to make sure we're doing the right types of things. We want to use the quantitative and qualitative data to make the decisions. We have a ton of quantitative data from around the country that tells us later start times are best for kids, but we still want to hear from people with boots on the ground to understand how we do this better. And we made the attempt to do it last year, and we have data that we have posted on the website, and some of it is great and some of it is not so great. So we want to continue to get better as we think about how do we do what we know is best for our students. So I want to make sure as folks come up and speak tonight that they speak to the issue that we're voting on, that you all are going to vote on tonight, which is authorizing me to make those long-term decisions for the district and implement the strategic strategies aligned with the pillars of the strategic plan that you have charged me with doing. And I want to do that in the most fiscally responsible way possible, and I want to think long-term. So I wanted to make sure not only the board understands that, which I know all of you do because I've said it to you, but I want to make sure the general public at large understands that. I also recognize, just based on comments that the board has made tonight, there is a certain level of PTSD relative to the transparency issue. There is a lack of trust. And as the CEO of the company, I recognize that there are folks in our community who don't trust that I'm going to do the right thing by our students. I can assure you that no one has ever accused me of doing wrong by any child ever, anywhere in the history of ever. And so I won't start now making decisions that are not in the best interest of students, and I won't stop listening to parents, family, and the community as we choose to make these decisions. And so I just wanted to assure you of that. So again, I am hoping for the support. Looking forward to having those discussions. Looking forward to going to the schools. I want to apologize to any teacher who feels he or she or her voice hadn't been heard. And let me say this, I don't even have any keys to my office because my door is always open. So anytime anyone, any of our employees want to come and talk to me, feel free. As many of you do when you see me, as I visit every school, not every school, I visit a lot of our schools every day. So I just wanted to make that. Let's work together. Let's go higher. Thank you, and this concludes my report.
Thank you, Superintendent. Appreciate the clarity. Moving along to item E, reports from board appointees to committees and agencies. Do we have any reports from any of our board members, from any of Ms. Powell Lewis?
Thank you. First, as a point of personal privilege, Mr. Cole, when you said in the history of ever being, making sure that you do things that are within the best interest of kids, I just go back to some of those videos that are on Instagram of your rapping career at CSAL. And yes, it's real. I challenge you guys to go. We'll make sure we have that as the after party. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
But I just wanted to share first, we have had an East Baton Rouge Foundation Board meeting recently, and the major part of the conversation is that we're hoping to add additional board members to our foundation board. We're looking for those that, number one, or have certain connections, of course, to our community, and then also have solid connections in regards to philanthropy groups as well that can bring in financial support for the many different avenues that we have that are connected to our school district. I'm sorry, I just recognized my crochet scarf maker in the front row. So how are you? The other is I have been blessed to represent East Baton Rouge Parish School Board as a delegate who traveled with the Baton Rouge Area Foundation for a learning visit of the Denver preschool program. And we also took with us Ms. Shanoa Thompson, as well as some of our other early learning and early childhood providers. And just as Mr. Cole mentioned as well, out of those conversations, we got a chance to see how city government and school governance can work together in order to make sure that there is necessary funding and support for early learning students and early childhood education. And just as Mr. Cole mentioned, I believe that some of the outcome of that trip showed up in the dollars that are now about to assist us with our early learning system here in EBR. So I'm super excited to share that. The other is just recently I had the opportunity to participate in the COSBA conference, and in short, that it has a long, detailed name, but I'm going to say that that's one of our national school board associations that exist, and it's actually one that we are a member of. And I had the opportunity to present, representing East Baton Rouge Parish School Board in pretty much what it was like to lead as the teacher on the board, and then also got a chance to participate in lots of other sessions as well on school board governance. And I would be glad to share any details that I was able to gain through any of those experiences that I mentioned. So I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to represent you, my colleagues, and also thank you for the opportunity to serve. Thank you.
Ms. Sule.
iCare had their yearly summit recently, and I got a chance to stop by. I hadn't been before, and it was phenomenal. The amount of people in the community that came to learn and get their hours that they needed was so cool. And there were companies just lining the halls that the iCare specialists were telling me that these companies go into our schools to share things with our kids to help them with all kinds of things, preparing for disasters, their physical health, their mental health, all these things. And so it was just really cool to see parts of the community that I don't always see at the board meetings that are actually going into our schools and helping our kids. And so iCare did a fabulous job with their summit. If you get a chance to attend next year, I recommend you head over there and check it out.
Thank you. Sorry. So now we move to item F, unfinished business, naming of the Glen Oaks Senior High School facilities. Consideration of a request to name the following Glen Oaks Senior High School facilities. A, auditorium to be named Shirley Singleton Auditorium of Performing Arts. B, field house to be named Nolan Gill Field House. Mr. Lannis, do I have any public comments? And if anybody would like to speak, you didn't turn in a card, you may come and speak and fill out the card. Okay, so I don't have any public.
Coming.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Good evening to our superintendent.
Pull the mic up,
all these
Coach.
sharp people.
Mr. Randall.
Good evening to everyone. our president, our superintendent, all board members. I want to say thank you all for considering this important ordeal for our school, because I am a graduate of Glen Oaks Magnet High School from 1992. But I'm going to get out the way because these two individuals that are standing behind me, they have been hard at work for the last couple of years, along with our board member, Mr. Lanus. So we have tonight Ms. Robin Bennett, and we also have Mr. Jedediah Reed, who both played an integral role, like I said before, in making certain that this happened. We all took classes under Ms. Shirley Singleton. We also, we have a daughter here tonight. What, she didn't come? You want to come up? Okay, you're the grand niece, so you're going to speak? Okay, great niece. So we do have a representative from Ms. Shirley Singleton. However, do we have Mr. Gill? Anyone? Okay. Hey, Coach. Coach, you're in the building. All right, Coach. Okay, so we're excited about this opportunity to name Coach Gill. That was my coach. I also took Miss Shirley Singleton's class for 3 years, TV and broadcast and film production at Glen Oaks High School. And so we're excited about this opportunity to get these two individual names up on the building at Glen Oaks Magnet High School because of all the great things that you're going to hear from these representatives.
Hi, I am Robin Bennett, as Eric stated, and I am absolutely glad to be here to represent Ms. Shirley Singleton. She was my teacher, but she was more than a teacher. She was a mentor before I knew what a mentor was. I was, of course, a high school student with my head all over the place. I was miserable. I was depressed. I didn't want to hear nothing. And so sometimes we get so caught up in the testing scores and things that we forget that life happens. And sometimes you have to take care of your students in a holistic approach, because if they're worried about things at home, how am I focused on how many times Columbus sailed around the world? Well, Miss Shirley Singleton took care of all of that. And she saw past my little attitude. She saw past this and that. And she told me, she said, girl, I promise you, one day, that same little attitude, God is going to turn it around, and my God. And I looked at her. Okay. And I let it go. And I tell you now, and not only did she, because I don't know, I heard all the wonderful things that Junior Achievement does with a $1.3 million budget, but Miss Shirley taught us all that on a teacher's budget for free. Please allow me to say that. She did it for free. And it was because of her I am who I am today, and I do what I do. So although 31 years later, I know I don't look like it, but 31 years later, yes, I am doing exactly what Shirley Singleton said that I would be doing. And I am still making impact in my community because of her. So students are still being taught the lessons that she taught me 31 years ago. So I thank you guys for this opportunity. There's Jed.
On behalf of my family, I want to say thank you. My name is Megan Johnson. I am the great niece of the Shirley Singleton. Not only did she impact the school, but she also impacted the family as well. I stand before you right now, kind of like Ms. Bennett here. I did everything that I could do, but she pulled us in. Well, she pulled me in, and just like she told her, she told me as well. So now I stand before you as one of the, what would you call it? I'm a person of interest, so to speak, at the Southern University. Yes. I am the livestock show director there. I've served over that in that capacity for the last 4 years under different leaders, but I say that to say this. Your schools in your parish were able to come to see what livestock has to offer, to see what agriculture at Southern University has to offer. And again, on behalf of our family, I want to say thank you.
I'll be brief. I just want to let everybody know this was a journey. I mean, we started it a couple years ago. Things happen. But I promised Ms. Gill and I promised Brandon that we was going to get it done. Coach Gill was more than just a coach. I mean, nobody else knows this, but it was a point in time where I quit football. And I had a conversation with him, and it brought me back. So he was not only a coach, he was a father figure. He was hard on it, and he wasn't our friend. He was our coach. He never was my friend. He was always my coach. I can go to him with real life things, and he talked to you, and if he got to run you, if he got to punish you, he'd do that and still tell you he loved you. So I just want to thank Lanus for man getting this done, man. This means a lot to me. It means a lot to all the football players that played under him, and it means a lot to the family. So thank you.
How y'all doing? My name is Brandon Gill. I am the oldest son of Coach Nolan Gill. My younger brother Byron couldn't be here tonight. His son had a JV baseball game. I would like to thank Jedediah Tim Brown, who isn't here, and Eric Randall for the hard work that they've put in to do this dedication for my dad. My brother and I played our entire high school careers, and my dad never got to once see us play a game, whether it be baseball or football, because my brother and I went to Woodlawn. He was the head coach at Glen Oaks. So when it came to all of his coaching to my brother and I came when he got home late at night at midnight. We would sit and look at game film, and he would, tell us what we did right and wrong. And then it would go on to the next Friday. He wouldn't be at that game, and then Fridays would repeat. But I wish I would have been able to locate some of the letters that have been written to my father from guys that he coached in high school, from kids that now are grown men now that live all over the country. And some of these notes will bring you to tears. He was not only a coach, he was a mentor to a lot of these kids who did not have fathers. And he was very, very good at what he does, or what he did. Now he's just an old retired man who tries to play as much golf as he can. And he has been battling dementia now for about 12 years.
I want to ask that you come up, Mr. Gill. Come up. We would like you to come up.
Just staying right here. But on behalf of my father here and the entire Gill family, I would like to thank y'all for what y'all have done. And of course, Jedediah and Eric Randall and Tim Brown and everybody who put in the work to get all this done. We really appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all very much.
We have one online comment. Don't go anywhere. We want you guys, if you don't mind, staying. We have an online comment.
Okay. We have one online comment from Dr. James Finney. I find it remarkable that this is an issue that the school board chooses to spend time and energy on when they haven't addressed the need to fix the boundaries of their election districts before this fall's election.
Mr. Lannis.
Thank you, Madam President. What we're not going to do tonight is we're not going to allow anything to deter us away from why we came here. This has been a long journey. I'm almost getting emotional thinking about it. Jedediah reached out to me back in 2023, passionate about this issue, and we did not have time to get to it, but I kept telling them we're going to get to it, we're going to get to it, we're going to get to it. And I know they had already honored the coach. I told you all, if you have not had an opportunity to go read the article that the Advocate put out, and it says, what is it in a name and an honor? If you don't know Nolan Gill's whole story, you should. Hearing everything you all said tonight, this should have been done a long time ago. And I just say to you, Coach, thank you for giving to that community. I love it. I play football. I know I don't look much like too much, but your name still rings bells there today and what you were able to do and the lives you were able to touch. And I say without further ado, I move that we approve this motion tonight.
Have a motion by Mr. Lannis and a second by Ms. Carla Powell Lewis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those in opposition? Madam Secretary, can you call for the vote?
Please vote. The motion carries.
Congratulations. Congratulations to you both.
I have one ask, if it's okay, Madam President, and access to the superintendent, to get with CSRS so we can possibly put together a rendering, nothing expensive, just something so the community to see and so we can give to the family so they can have long term.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving along to item G, the consent agenda.
Darius.
Thank you, Coach Gill. Oh, you can give him a thing? A medal. Okay. I'm sorry. Mr. Gode.
Thank you. Item G, consent agenda. The following items are to be approved as part of the consent agenda and are considered to be routine and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of items unless the board member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered as an item on the regular agenda for a separate vote preceding the last item on the regular agenda. Item 1, professional services contract, Empower for Good LLC. Consideration of a request for the approval of a professional service contract between the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board and Empower for Good LLC in the amount of $82,500 to serve as the external evaluator for Project Red Stick, the district's Magnet Schools Assistant Program grant. Item 2, Resolution 2026 Millages. Consideration and adoption of a resolution for the purpose of levying millages effective on the 2026 assessment roll as required by law. Item 3, 2026-2027 district calendar. Consideration of request for the approval of the 2026-2027 school year calendar. Item 4, school start times. Consideration of request to authorize the superintendent to adjust school start times for the district-operated schools over the next 3 years. Item 5, policy and policy revisions. Consideration of request for the approval of the following policies. A, policy DFK, sale of surplus equipment and supplies. B, policy EBBC, emergency crisis management. C, item policy GBC, recruitment. D, policy GBN, dismissal of employees. And E, policy GBRA, employee conduct. Item 6, naming of the Scotlandville Magnet High School facilities. Consideration of request to name the following Scotlandville High School facilities. A, the gym to be named Howard Davis Gymnasium. B, the gym floor to be named Carlos Sample Court. C, football stadium to be named William Breda Stadium. And D, football field to be named Lloyd Norwood Field. Item 7, litigation. Consideration of request for the approval of the recommendation from Gwen Shamlin, General Counsel, East Baton Rouge Parish School Board, in the manner of Jonathan Alexander versus East Baton Rouge Parish School Board and Anita Angelina Sims, suit number C-757194, Section 32, 19th Judicial District Court, East Baton Rouge Parish, and related matters. I so move.
Thank you, Mr. Gode. Are there any items that any board member would like to be pulled from the consent agenda?
Yes, I've entered the queue to pull item 6.
Okay, so we're pulling item 6, and so that one will stand alone. And so we do have public comments on the remaining. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't see Mark.
I'd like to pull item 4 to allow additional input from anybody who hasn't been able to speak on the school start times.
Okay, so item 4 and item 6. Are there any other items? Okay, moving along. So, you want to read the, no, the public ones first. On the consent agenda. On the consent agenda. Okay, so there are no comments on the other remaining consent items. Let me see if there are any board.
Need a second.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Second. You need a second?
No, I made the motion.
He made the motion.
Okay.
And then, so we have a motion by Mr. Gode, then we have a second by Mr. Lannis. Just want to refresh, make sure the online comments. Give me 1 second. Yeah, but it's not, it's 4. Okay, they got G1.
Okay, I'll come back and do that. Item G1, Ms. Jacqueline Kepley. The Magnet PR team recent glossy video staged pre-existing or one-off activities to create a narrative of great success. But these productions disrupt schools. The evaluators' limited visits are unlikely to capture the real impact, raising concerns about the effective use of public funds. They will not be able to give meaningful feedback if everything is staged. When minimum stakeholder engagement, staged videos, and limited evaluators' oversight, the Magnet program is creating a false narrative of great success while most resources fail to meaningfully reach students. In addition, it's important to look what has happened to the last recipients of the MSAP Big Grant. Now that the money is gone, it appears they're closing up shop and restructuring both Villa Del Rey Elementary and Park Forest. EBR schools was unable to return the investment to the students. Not only is much of the special programming gone, but neither of the schools are high performing as was the goal. Seems risky.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. We have a motion by Mr. Gode, and we have a second by Mr. Lannis. Do we have any board comments that anybody? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those in opposition? Madam Secretary, can you call for the vote?
Please vote. Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving along to item 4, school start times. Consideration of a request to authorize the superintendent to adjust school start times for the district-operated schools over the next 3 years. I do have some public comments. Miss Colleen Kissel.
Hi. Sorry, I'm short. Hi, I'm Colleen Kissel. I'm fine with moving schools later. I'm waking up so early to take my middle schooler right now, and so I would love it. I don't think we do it this way. It sounds like we're doing this in only a couple phases, so I don't see why you don't want to vote just like twice instead of doing a blank check for whoever's superintendent and whoever the school board is, since we don't know who will be elected next time. But, you guys are going to approve it anyway. We said we had the community meetings, which were actually on Monday, not on Tuesday, during the long weekend. I'm going to play the voicemail I have that invited me to this event. Oh, shoot. Okay, we're going to go at the beginning.
Dear EBR families, EBR Schools invites the community to participate in a conversation about school realignment and start times. The meeting will be held from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Monday, March 16th at Belair High, 12121 Thames Drive. It is an opportunity for families and community members to learn more about the proposed changes and share feedback. We are looking forward to seeing you there.
Okay, you get the idea. There's no names of schools. There's no other information. I had an appointment Monday, and I didn't cancel it because of this voicemail. Because it's the general information. I read the notes for this meeting. I figured it was just the start times as discussed for the thing. No mention of schools. I emailed Tuesday to ask for a copy of the presentation because I couldn't make it, or if it was recorded, right? Wednesday morning, I got a text from a friend that they have updated the PowerPoint on the realignment website. So I click through it, and I find out that my kid is being kicked out of his school. That is how I found out.
Ms. Kissel, I do apologize.
This is about the start times.
No. This is about giving him authorization for the next 3 years.
That is
Okay.
fine.
I
He
just
can
wanna
have
make sure.
authorization, but on the Monday meeting, he bundled it together. The presentation bundled the school start times and changing the schools. I have a flyer here of what I presented. If you are going to invite the community to a meeting and say this is the meeting to talk about school realignment and this is the community meeting before we introduce it at the Monday meeting, for him to have this authority to do it, you leave a voicemail message that says the names of the 6 schools that are going to be impacted. Because if I had not read that PowerPoint, I would have found out from my 9-year-old that he was going to have to switch schools, and that is unacceptable.
Well, let me say this. We have not made a recommendation for any specific schools just yet.
Are you having more community meetings?
Yes.
Your communication team emailed me yesterday that you did not have plans to. Please check with the...
I will, but I told the group on Monday night that we would continue to have conversations before we make any recommendations to the board.
And yet the teachers are telling the students in these schools, so you need to lock it down or figure out a way to tell
I just want to make it
everyone.
clear for the record that we will consistently have conversations before making any recommendations.
Excellent. I should not find out from my 9-year-old about changes like this.
Thank you, Ms. Kissel.
Thank you.
Don Collins.
Good afternoon. All right. I'm going to give a little background, and I'm glad the person who submitted the comments online made those comments because that's part of what I want to address to help enlighten as it relates to the start time and how we're arriving to these decisions. 10 years ago, when I was elected to represent District 4, one of the first things I did was spend time at each school site as well as analyze enrollment data. I compiled a report of each school's strengths and needs, delivered that to then Superintendent Warren Drake, and explained that the data shows too many of my families were choosing schools across town because they didn't think that they had anything of their own on their own side of town. Out of that, the MSAP, Arts and Science Magnet School programs embedded in traditional schools were born. Park Forest Elementary, Villa Del Rey Elementary, Park Forest Middle, and Bel Air High School. These 4 schools received a $15 million grant, not just to create magnet programs that could be leveraged for the entire campus, but a pipeline of learning. It wasn't perfect, nor is it perfect, nor was it intended to be a silver bullet, but it was a start that should have continued to be built on. However, what more commonly happens on the north side of town is that the building part gets forgotten. Even worse, the brilliance get overlooked. Many of us, when I was on the board, got on a plane to experience all things amazing and great in the schools in Miami, Florida, under then Superintendent Cito Narcisse. But when I got there, I observed on one of their shining middle schools doing work my babies were doing in elementary school under the MSAP programs. I said it on the mic when we came back. People forget. And instead of people building and improving and leveraging the response given to the community the response given at the community meeting this past Tuesday at Bel Air, as it relates to the start times and the package marketed presentation that is all connected, The question was raised, what about MSAP at PFE and Villa? And the response was, well, we'll give the equipment to Greenbrier. Greenbrier is an amazing school, by the way. No shade on Greenbrier, but it's not just equipment. It is programming. And such a response is an indication that the work wasn't done to understand the impact of the proposed changes, or there was a conscious decision to include the dismantling of those programs and start from scratch instead of building and growing a pipeline in Northeast Baton Rouge of excellence. It can be done. It should be done. And as it relates to the start times of the elementary school babies, instead of moving them up and having those parents struggle more, move the high school students down just a little bit. 9:15, 9:30, it was done in Slidell High School.
Thank you, Ms. Collins. Ms. Carolyn Booty.
Hi, Carolyn Boutte. I'm a teacher at Park Forest Elementary. I was at that meeting and I came away with the impression that the realignment plan would be discussed tonight, so my comments are not pertinent. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hannah Omarosa.
Good evening, board members and Mr. Cole, everyone present. Thank you for bringing developmentally appropriate and healthy school start times to this point. Wide and broadening research has and continues to support later school start times for adolescents. I thank each of you for taking the time and effort to look into the why behind this change and making the bold decision to move it forward. Everyone who knows me knows that I unequivocally support later, healthier, developmentally appropriate start times for our middle and high schoolers. Like everything, though, the key to success is in the implementation, and I hope and pray that implementation is done carefully with a lot of attention given to frontline stakeholder input. It is impossible to perfectly implement something, and for that reason, I am thankful for the rollout in phases that gives more time to acknowledge the specific needs at individual schools and more time to seek input and buy-in from stakeholders. Again, I am thankful to each of you for this data-driven decision and pray for much wisdom for all involved as implementation moves forward.
Thank you. And we have, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it because I don't understand, Ms. Arnetta? Ms. Arnetta?
Good afternoon, everyone. I did not get to go to the meeting on Monday because I am doing an advanced degree and have to go to school for that in the afternoons. And in my mind, that's really important for our kids to have teachers that know their content and are motivated and can showcase to them what that looks like at a higher level to be disciplined and such. However, with the later start times, I'm having a hard time understanding how teachers are going to be able to work on either advanced degrees or getting certified if they're coming from out of field like I did from engineering. And wondering how it is that they will be able to actually take classes in the evenings, because most of them are not able to start at all until 3 or 5, and that limits you quite a bit on which classes you can take. I'm also wondering how that will help get more certified teachers in the field if they are unable to take classes when the classes are currently not reimbursed if you are not actually on campus. Online schools are not reimbursed through tuition reimbursement. And so I'm wondering about that and how you plan to ensure that we still have certified teachers. I'm also wondering how we are not looking at the data that also suggests a 4-day work week, which seems to be working out.
Excuse me. This is about giving him the authority to just for the next 3 years, not about the actual, because that's coming back to us. So I just wanted to make sure that you understand what you're commenting on.
Sure.
Okay.
But if they start with my school, which is Bel Air, and then I can't come to a meeting because I have to go to school, I'm going to go ahead and get this out now. should it be authorized in general, I think there should, if you want me to pivot to that, there needs to be way more meetings before there's any kind of authorization around this. Teachers and students have not had enough input whatsoever. I have a ton of kids that are in high school that are unable to meet job requirements if they had started late, and they have not had the opportunity to speak, often because the meetings are happening when they cannot make it to a meeting or comment. Hopefully some of them will choose to do so in the future. However, the start times for the meeting that happened at my own school, many of my own kids who would be dramatically impacted, since it seems like Bel Air is on the list to go first, would not be able to go. And so I think in general, if we're going to approve anything, I think there should be more community input before anything happens. And I also think that the narrative around being data-driven should also include the other data that suggests other opportunities to improve development of our children, like a 4-day work week. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We also have some online comments.
Miss Clara Dixon. Later school times for middle and high schools could be beneficial if implemented in a vacuum. However, it will not. Please keep in mind parents whose jobs will not allow schedule changes, the high number of workplaces in Baton Rouge where employees live in surrounding parishes that currently have similar start times to EBR. If an EBR parent works primarily with people who are not also EBR parents, it may be impractical or impossible for the EBR parent to change their schedule in a way that allows for their workplace responsibilities. The demand of morning extended daycare, particularly for middle school students, and associated costs and logistics. The effect of extracurricular activities. The fact that traffic is significantly heavier in EBR after the current morning drop-off hours has already ended, and the effect of adding school traffic to already heavy work traffic. Anything that increases household stress is also detrimental to the well-being of children and should be considered with much thought and care. Currently, it seems that this situation would only truly benefit children whose families have the ability to alter their existing schedules and patterns of family life. This issue needs to be thoroughly studied and solutions for potential problems before potential implementation. That was Ms. Clara Dixon. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, Aaron Lackley. I'm writing to express my opposition to the proposed agenda item that would authorize the superintendent to adjust school start times over the next 3 years. Later dismissal times would leave students with very limited time to complete homework and study effectively. Adequate time for academic work outside the classroom is essential for student success, and pushing schedules later into the evening risks negatively impacting both academic performance and overall well-being. I strongly oppose any adjustment that would result in later dismissal times for students. Such changes would create significant challenges for those who participate in sports and other extracurricular activities. There has not been adequate communications with the community regarding the long-term rollout of these proposed changes. Decisions of this magnitude require clear, transparent, and consistent engagement with families, students, and stakeholders, which has not been sufficiently demonstrated. Ms. Cindy Lee. I've been following the Phase 1 results, and since they have been quite encouraging, it feels like the right time to think about adding more schools this year. I really love to see larger campuses like Baton Rouge High in the next group. Since it's a big school, seeing how the new start times play out there will give all of us some really helpful insights before the full launch. it would also be nice. It would also be a great way to see the district to get a better look at the logistics for larger student bodies, which will help ensure smoother transitions for all teachers and families. Michael Stevens. I'm concerned about granting the superintendent a 3-year blank check to change school start times, as outlined in the documents uploaded for this meeting. While I understand the desire to address important operational decisions such as start times, I strongly urge you to reconsider this proposal based on the district's track record with community engagement. The documents mention that community engagement will be required in this process, but we must ask, what kind of engagement has the district truly achieved in the past? Unfortunately, the district has not demonstrated a strong history of meaningful, inclusive, or effective engagement with the community. More often than not, we see large meetings where district staff outnumber actual community members. Meetings that feel more like a checkbox exercise than genuine opportunity for open two-way dialogue. These are not the kind of interactions that build trust for greater feedback. Vote no until EBR school staff has the skills. Mr. James Finney. The proposed action is consideration of a request to authorize the superintendent to adjust school start times for the district-operated schools over the next 3 years. Does approval indicate giving blanket authorization to the superintendent to adjust times, whether earlier or later, with no oversight? Or is it simply indicating that the board has agreed to consider the request? The wording of the motion should matter. When it doesn't, you get board members trying to interfere. The past actions meant something contradictory to the opposed minutes. The public deserves better, and giving the superintendent 3-year blanket authority is bad policy. Adjust start times, of course, but in full view of the board and public. Ms. Robin Clark. I oppose any reconstruction that grants the superintendent unilateral authority to change schools' times. I do not oppose our superintendent, who is doing a great job. My concern is that I oppose unchecked power without vetting and voting by our elected school board members. Restructuring the grants, any superintendent unrelated authority over school schedules remove essential checks and balance that protects students, staff, and families. More input from all stakeholders, more time, more data points, more input, no changes just yet. Hear more from the staff and community, but do not change the governance. Unilateral authority contradicts good governance and undermines the public right to hold elected officials accountable. For these reasons, I cannot support this item and pray that you do not as well. Expanding the authority outside of the bounds of elected terms for superintendent and many school board members is not democratic, not accountable, and not acceptable. That's the end of the...
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. We also have one comment also that someone is joining us. Madam Secretary?
Ms. Matthews?
Hi, this is Storm Matthews. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to first start with many people who work the later start times cannot make it to board meetings. How will this board address the need to allow employees the opportunity to attend and be heard? The memo attached to backup talks a great game about being informed by stakeholder engagement. Who felt engaged on Monday? Not the teachers, not the parents. The feedback that I received, now there is a difference between perception and reality. But the feedback I received where Mr. Cole's eyes were in his phone and teachers had
Excuse
to
me,
ask
Miss,
their board
I'm sorry
member was.
to interrupt. Ms. Matthews, this is about giving him the authorization to make the change.
Reclaiming my time, point of
Okay,
information.
just want to make sure that you
This is
understand
about
what the
meeting, and I
item is.
Yes,
Be respectful.
and I am. I'm stating what happened. As I was saying, the perception was that Mr. Cole's eyes were in his phone and teachers had to ask who their board member was for the district. So how was the district engaged? And before the response is, because Mr. Cole did address it, that yes, he absolutely did go to Bel Air the other day, but that was to speak, to introduce Alcorn's president. There was a discussion with those two teachers.
Ms. Matthews, Ms. Matthews, can you please speak on the item?
The memo is about community engagement. I am specifically discussing the backup that is attached to this item, which you would be aware of. Hopefully you read it. Please reclaim my time. Again, the question asked of those teachers was, did they get the data? What data? They didn't know what he was talking about. They were supposed to go find it on the district's website. The data is not even attached to this presentation. So what stakeholders are being engaged to the point that Ms. Kissel made? Also, a lot of people want this to work, but it has to be done correctly. And running off of incorrect data from the last 90 days to throw everyone's lives in upheaval when you haven't even gotten it right where it is yet, sure, it may well be a unanimous vote tonight. And the teachers may very well leave the district, as many of them said they will. However, the board needs to remember they all still live here and they will still be voting. As many people have pointed out, this 3 years goes past anyone's tenure that is currently sitting on the dais. Now, I do not think for a single second that Mr. Cole would ever intentionally harm a child. Absolutely not. But as an experienced educator, he knows 90 days of data does not implement an entire academic career. You aren't just going to try something.
Can you wrap that up? Excuse me, Ms. Matthews. Can you? I know. I just want to tell you your time is up to wrap it up.
Point of information, because I know
your time is up, Ms. Matthews. I was telling you to wrap your thought up.
I'm going to finish because you continually interrupted me. Had you understood Robert's Rules of Order and the agenda item, I would have been done. As I was saying, locked everybody in for the rest of the year. Maybe he has been out of the classroom too long, but this doesn't even look like a good lesson plan, let alone to set in motion something that will affect 28,000 students, 6,000 employees, and all of their parents and the community. This is not something that should be a blank check going for all. Thank you.
Ms. Carla Lewis.
Thank you. First, I would like to just say this, just to process some things. The first is we really need to research what our ADA compliance policies are. That's what we need to do. We have many different opportunities and many different systems and structures that are in place. But to maintain the decorum of this board, I think that is something that we really need to consider. First, I would like to ask the question just in a rhetorical form of what is micromanagement? And do any of us like to be micromanaged? The other is, as many of you know in our listening audience, that we don't like to find out things that are going on in systems and governance that we are part of through the street committee. And because of that, our superintendent has brought this item to say that over 3 years, that he would engage in, and please tell me if I'm not correct, that he would engage in community conversations, continue the work of student advisories, continue the work of teacher advisories, continue the work of parental advisories, all around not only all these other things that are on this 2-sheet agenda, but then specifically on school start times. I, of course, as you guys have known in the past, am a proponent of later school start times. I've seen it work. But for the sake of this particular item, with the clarity of understanding that has been given by Madam President and has been given by Mr. Superintendent, that this is to give him and his staff and his leadership team 3 years to vet out what this should look like. Now, out of the comments that I've received, one of the most refreshing has been that there are parents at Arlington Prep who look forward to being a part of the next phase of the later start times. Thank you to those parents who have shared their thoughts, and even the staff that may have shared their thoughts. To the idea of the fact that we have not had transparent community engagement with this sitting board is completely untruthful. I remember us sitting through, and Mr. Martin, I think we were in this work together. We had a series of community engagement meetings over and over and over, to the point of even saying, can we have one that's offered as a virtual option, where you and I was, Mr. Martin, we were sitting at Glen Oaks High School in the auditorium with a computer, having a virtual meeting for the parents and families who could not be there. I think that this is something that, yes, we do need to continue to have conversations about. I sure hope that one day, though, that we will begin to have consistent community members that come out not only about one item, but that you make this a consistent behavior when it comes to the many different items that appear on our agendas, instead of just what we consider to be hot topics. There are many options that are available that can be used to be able to share your voice. It's not just coming here at 5 p.m. at 1050 South Foster on Thursdays. But as our vice presidents have taken on the precedence of reading online comments, as many of you know that you can find our email addresses online. And then also we know that there are many who know how to call us and see us out in the public and share their thoughts. There is not just one way to skin a cat. So I sure hope that we will process this as it has been stated over and over and over again, specifically tonight, that this is to start the process or to continue the process of vetting out what this looks like for our district. Now, our superintendent has stated 3 years, but of course, as we have paid attention to him in his role since the mid part of 2024 up until the present, his administration moves with haste. They attempt to have the necessary conversations, but they move with haste. It is not going to take him 3 years to come up with this process. We're hoping that he does not move speedily and then end up with many inaccuracies in this work, because this is very important. But we also know that it's not going to take him 3 years. And even if that is the case, yes, all of us are sitting board members. We don't know if we're going to be reelected, but we are supposed to make the decisions that are within the best interest of our communities, not just teachers, not just students, not just parents, but all staff, all community stakeholders while we sit on this dais. So if this is the item that is brought before us, it has been stated clearly. It's been stated many different ways. We've used differentiated instruction, teachers. And so now it's time to make a decision. And we're not here to micromanage Mr. Cole, Mr. Smith, or any of the other staff that leads this particular organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Powell Lewis. Mr. Gode.
Thank you. And Board Member Powell Lewis stated many of the things that I was thinking very succinctly, and I appreciate her for doing that. One thing I wanted to address is several members of the public made reference that we're giving him a blank check for 3 years, and it goes beyond the term of the current board and all of those sorts of things. I want to remind people that, you know, the employment contract for the superintendent goes beyond the term of the board that are here. That is just the way the world works. And what we're doing with this motion is putting our imprint of approval on the philosophy of getting the times changed in the schools. This is not something that is cut on granite stones, handed down to Moses on a mountain. If we decide, we as a board decide that the plan that he brings to us doesn't work, we don't have to approve it. Or we can change the 3 years till you don't have it anymore. That is still totally, we're not giving him a blank check or passing on any of our authority. What we're doing is passing him the responsibility to do it. We still maintain the authority, but we're giving him the responsibility to do that. And to assert that it is anything other than that is just not reality. That's not what's happening. Lastly, I'd like to bring out the fact that we have been talking about changing school times since I joined the board. I remember Miss Evelyn Ware Jackson up here just almost in tears saying that we need to change school start times. That's been years that we've been doing this. This is not a new subject. This is something that data from the scientific community and everywhere else has shown it really makes a difference. Now, I know we don't have a lot of data coming up that we have in our district, but do we have to throw away all of the national data to get to the data that we need to be able to make changes? And the data we do have is now posted up on the website and doing all that. And I will make one last comment, and maybe I shouldn't, but I will since I'm not running for re-election. It seems like every time someone's against something, it's you haven't listened to the community. You haven't done this. You haven't gotten our input. And that usually comes about because we as a board or the staff has reached a decision that you may not necessarily agree with. That doesn't mean we haven't heard you. That means we don't agree. And that's okay too. Everyone doesn't have to agree on everything. And I would say 90% of the comments I've heard against this plan have dealt with adult issues, not with child issues, not with student issues. They've been adult issues, traffic, all these kinds of things. People made their schedules today. They had to make them in some form or fashion. And as these things change, we're giving time for these changes to occur. So people will have to make changes and adjust. That is the way life goes. And there's not, we're going to have to do that. It's best for the kids that we have to get on with this and make it work for the kids. So I fully support this. It's something I've been hoping we could do for years. I, like my colleague, Ms. Powell Lewis, hopes that it doesn't take us 3 years to fully implement this. I do have 2 suggestions, though, that I did hear at the meetings. One is I do think we have to get in contact with some of the employers, particularly Amazon, to see if there's anything related to their start times and things like that people brought up at that meeting that is significant that we need to work on. And then secondly, I think we ought to make it a policy within the district for extracurricular activities so school kids don't get taken out of school as often, particularly for athletic events, that when you have a school on a delayed start time and they are in a meet or something with the school on a regular start time, that the school with the delayed start time, that's the times that you set things up. We should not penalize class time at the delayed schools for extracurricular activities just because the host school may be on an earlier time. But those are minor details and minor policies to get put in place compared to the overall of what needs to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Godet, and those are some good things that you piggybacked on with Ms. Powell Lewis. Mr. Lannis.
Thank you, Madam President. I heard a lot of great comments from the community, also from the board. I want to try to be as clear as possible in saying this. It is not normal for a first grader to have to stand on the corner at 5 a.m. in the morning. That is not normal. When the parents are not there to watch them and they're on those blocks by themselves, that's not normal activity. I get what we're talking about today, but when you're talking about what's best for kids, anybody who believes a 5-year-old, if they're on the corner at 5 a.m., that means they're waking up before that to get ready. That is unheard of. I can specifically remember this when I was a kid, going to one of the highest performing schools in the district, and I loved the experience, but my mom had to go to work before I had to go and stand on the corner at 6 a.m. in the morning. So if I missed the bus, that was a problem. And I missed the bus quite frequently because not getting enough sleep. And this is not me trying to grandstand, this is the truth. And I had to get pulled out of that school and go to a neighborhood school with a much lower score because she just could not simply afford for me to keep missing the bus. This is the reality for a lot of kids. The ones you don't hear about. The ones inside of those communities that people regularly don't go to. What I will offer there, and I want to bring something up that Mr. Godet also said, a lot of the contracts that we approve and a lot of the items that we approve extend past the life of our board. I'll give you one of our largest. The tax plan is 10 years. Some of the people ain't gonna be on this board. The people who voted on the tax plan when it first came out or 4 years ago, many of which are no longer on this board, yet we still vote and track what happens with the tax plan. So I just want to demystify any idea that there is some type of mishandling of what's going to happen with this process. And I also want to piggyback on the fact that the board still holds the voting power to change, modify, or fix this plan at any time if we feel like it's too long and we feel like something's not happening that's supposed to take place. And one of the things I want to add, if it's not already inside of the item, Superintendent, I bring this to your footsteps, is could you please add in regular community meetings and regular surveys to go out to the schools that are going to be affected if it's not in there? And if we could please get an advanced calendar out for anybody who feels like something's being rushed. That way they can already know far, well, and in advance.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That's the last I'll say on that. I think that we talked about this far too long. We talked about it with the last superintendent. Could never get it done. Could never give it over the field. And we understand there's always going to be sentiments on both sides. There's going to be sentiments on the ones who want to see it happen and ones who don't want to see it happen. But I think when you got kids that come inside of these rooms and tell you that thank you for finally doing something that gives us the ability to get up later, I think that you have to take that into strong consideration because at the end of the day, that's who we serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lannis. Mr. Martin.
Thank you. I echo the sentiments of pretty much all my colleagues who have spoken already. I think Mr. Godet must have been listening to a phone call I had with one of my constituents the other day where I said the exact same thing. I hear you. I understand your legitimate perspective, but I disagree with it at the end of the day. And I think, several of the commenters online in particular talked about the other aspects of life where this potentially could add stressors to children who are already in a stressed environment. And we certainly should be mindful of that, and that's why we're doing pilot programs and staging this in so we can evaluate and see how we can minimize those. But what nobody has said is the scientific evidence is wrong. The scientific evidence is very clear. Our children who are in schools at 7:10 a.m. are not mentally in a condition to learn. And if they're not mentally in a condition to learn, why are we making them be there to begin with? That our purpose here is to educate these kids, and they're not learning well at that time of the morning because of how their brain functions. Is everything about this plan right now perfect? No, but we can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Otherwise, we'll have paralysis, and it'll be another 10 years, and our successors will be going, man, they couldn't get it done either. For 20 years, we've been trying to do this that everybody agrees need to be done. The community will adjust. If right now the jobs intended to be filled by teenagers start at 3, guess what? Those jobs are going to start at 4 or 5. The grocery store clerks, I shop at Calvin's grocery store all the time, and they're filled with with, right? It's a great store. They're filled with high school students who check out and learn tremendous job skills there. They're going to adjust. They're not going to say, well, we're going to hire grown people for that. They're going to wait when the kids are available. The community will adjust. It is appropriate, as other colleagues have said, obviously, that we need to coordinate with large businesses. We need to, I think, have some meetings with the chamber to make sure, and we haven't already, to make sure that the employment community employers are prepared for this. Look, as Vice President Coach Lewis said 2 weeks ago, change is difficult. It is. They're growing pains, just as our teenagers have the growing pains. But this is really, in my view, vital to improving the education we provide to our kids, and I support it. And with that, I move adoption of the item.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Martin. I have a second. I have a second by Mr. Lewis. And then not have Mr. Lewis in the clue.
I concur with a lot of things that have been said by my colleagues up here tonight. And what I'm about to say, I just didn't wake up this week and feel this way or believe this way. I said 8 years ago that, in my opinion, EBR was one school district with two separate school systems. You had the haves and the have-nots. I came to that conclusion after working in schools for 15 years. I made this comment on Monday night. The definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over again, expecting a different result. This concept underscores the importance of pursuing new strategies and approaches when striving to improve outcomes in our district. And I wrote these thoughts down today because I'm telling you, this has been on my mind for 8 years. And I sat right out there and watched Miss Jackson almost come to tears one night talking about school times. And even though we opposed each other in a race, I'm texting her from out in the audience saying, I hope it passes this time. Recently, much of the conversation within our district has centered around phase 2 of our realignment plan. This initiative is a vital part of a strategic plan that was approved by this board and presented to the public last spring. You guys remember that? All those meetings we had all around town? Okay? The focus on realignment demonstrates our commitment to systematically improve long-term planning. Here's the part. Since 2007, EBR has experienced a high rate of superintendent turnover, with 7 different leaders. Since 2007, we've had 7 superintendents. Each one of those superintendents came to us with their own vision. This frequent change in leadership has made it difficult to achieve substantial progress. The average tenure of an urban superintendent is 2.5 years, people. 2.5 years. Under Mr. Cole's tenure, EBR has embarked on a significant transformation, including school consolidations, changes in school start times, grade reconfigurations, all aimed at enhancing student outcomes. All aimed at enhancing students' outcomes. We talk about it being about kids all the time, but half the people came in here tonight talked about their own adult issues. EBR is an urban school district. Even though we're surrounded by some beautiful suburbs, EBR is an urban school district. And we face challenges that are not typically encountered in suburbia. Many of our students deal with issues that others may only hear about, Some of us may only hear about what they deal with. If you don't experience what our kids experience, you can hear about it, but you have difficulty fully understanding and grasping it. You can read The Advocate and say, well, I understand. But if you don't live it, you don't really fully understand it. Managing an urban school district demands readiness and willingness to take risk. To take risk. It calls for bold, innovative, and strategic planning. Above all, it requires equitable allocation of resources, recognizing that what is considered equitable at one school may not be equitable at another. What's equitable at McKinley Middle Magnet may not be equitable at Park Forest Middle. But if we're going to improve student outcomes, we've got to provide fair and equitable educations. I don't care about it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Additionally, success depends on having qualified, well-paid teachers. How many times have you heard me say, great teachers make great students? They stood up here tonight, talked about the lady from Glen Oaks. My kids talk about her. I never knew who she was or what she looked like until I saw that picture tonight. Great students make great teachers. And listen, and let me be real about something else. The stakes in this room, the stakes are much higher than grade configurations and consolidations. The stakes in EBR are much higher than that. The very existence of the EBR school system is on the line. If we don't become innovative, if we don't make changes, if we don't improve student improvements, the school system that we're looking at today may not exist 6 or 7 years from now. It may not exist. Whether I'm here or any of us are here, or Mr. Cole is here, if we don't get out of our comfort zones and get to the business of educating children, we won't have a school system. It may look like the one about 50, 60 miles east of here, and that's a wreck. Me personally, I have grandchildren and great-grandchildren. One of them's about 3 weeks old. Will live in Baton Rouge and call Baton Rouge home and go to school in Baton Rouge. If we want to survive as a city and as a school district, get out your comfort zone, put on your big boy pants, and let's do what we have to do to provide fair and equitable education for the children that we are responsible for educating. Thank you for letting me go over time.
Do we have a motion?
Yeah, we got
It was already made.
Yeah, already
Okay.
made. Thank you, Coach. And I just want to, I'm not going to be long. I just want to let the constituents of District 4 know that we are hearing you. We will have more meetings. We will have your input, and this will come back to the board before any decisions are made. So with that being said, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor for the motion say aye.
I'm sorry, 1 second. Let me add up a friendly. Just want to add one friendly, if that's okay. You don't have to accept it, but I just wanted to get in on the record because the superintendent said he would do it anyway. And that friendly would be for the superintendent and staff to host 4 quarterly community meetings a year with school surveys for staff at participating schools. This just ensures that community input is always a part of the process.
I mean, we do it already, but yeah.
That's fine.
Just getting it on the record.
Okay.
Point of information as well, and I just want to add, with the community engagement piece that you're mentioning, Mr. Lannis, can we be intentional with having one of those meetings as a virtual, which allows for those parents or families that cannot come to a physical location at the particular time that is mentioned?
Yes, if that soup and his team can make it happen? Yeah. Okay.
Does our secretary need a minute to type that in?
And again, the reason why we add this in is just so the community, because we have heard you tonight, you all want to be able to have input throughout this process, and this ensures that it gives not only the community, the superintendent and his staff enough time between each meeting to digest all of the information, but it also gives them enough time to be able to present it either on dashboard or give it to the board so we can also be updated on all the processes.
Councilman, could you restate what the motion is, friendly amended it is?
Yes, sir. To authorize the superintendent to adjust school start times for district-operated schools.
Speak in the mic, please.
I'm sorry. To authorize the superintendent to adjust school start times for district-operated schools over the next 3 years and to allow for 4 public meetings annually to allow for public input.
Okay.
Okay, so
One of which will be virtual. One of which will be virtual.
If let's add this, if necessary, because if there's no recommendation to be made, do we need to have a conversation about those particular schools if there's no recommendation about schools to be made? So I want to add that comment, if necessary, yeah. We'll do it if not, yeah, yeah.
So who made the original motion? Patrick, and then you stay. Yeah, that's what I want. I want to make sure. Yeah, I think so. I think Darius seconded it. Okay.
It's probably not the appropriate time to crack a joke, but, you know.
And those, I think it was one other part was just the school surveys for participating staff. Staff at participating schools.
I think we reach a point of diminishing returns the more we try to lay into this poor motion. Yeah. I think it's clear enough, and I certainly trust the superintendent
No,
to
that's
do
cool.
the other parts
But that
of
was the original amendment. That's why I wanted to make sure that it was in there.
All right. Council, when you're ready, if you could read it one more time.
Yeah. So we can move along.
To authorize the superintendent to adjust school start times for district-operated schools over the next 3 years and to allow for 4 public meetings annually, 1 to be held virtually, to allow for public input if necessary.
That's good.
So we have a motion by
That's the
Mr. Martin. We have a second by Mr. Lannis. All those in favor of that motion say aye.
Aye.
All those that oppose?
I had Mr. Lewis as the second.
Okay, see, that's what I was trying to make sure. Okay.
Mr. Martin.
Mr. Martin did the motion, and then Mr. Lewis. Okay.
Lewis is the
So, yeah. And so, Madam Secretary, did I say the yeas? Do I need to say it again? Do I need to say it again? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those in opposition say nay. Madam Secretary, can you please call for the vote?
Please vote. I resent it. You can't
It's
see
not
it.
coming up. Ms. Sule hadn't.
I did it.
You got it? Oh. I had closed mine out with the earlier thing, so maybe. Can we just do a roll call vote, Madam President?
Let's do a roll call, Madam Secretary.
Mr. Blue?
Yes.
Mr. Lannis?
Yay.
Ms. Powell Lewis?
Yes.
President Stewart?
Yay.
Vice President Lewis?
Yay.
Mr. Russ?
Yay.
Mr. Goday? Ms. Sule?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving along to item 6. Hold on, I'm sorry. Gotta read it. Naming of the Scotlandville Magnet High School facilities. Consideration of a request to name the following Scotlandville High School facilities. A, gym to be named Howard Davis Gymnasium. B, gym floor to be named Carlos Sample Court. C, football stadium to be named William Breda Stadium. And D, football field to be named Lloyd Norwood Field. Do I have any public comments?
point of personal privilege. I would just, first of all, like to apologize to our honorees. When I asked for the item to be pulled, I probably should have also asked if we could have taken it first before item 4. So my apologies for that. The reason why I pulled this item was because I believe some of our honorees are in the room today, and I wanted to give them the opportunity to be recognized. I know I see Coach Carlo Sample in the audience, as well as Mr. Jackson, or any of the families of the other honorees here tonight? Okay, so Coach Sample, if you would like to come forward, I wanted to make sure that we gave you the opportunity to speak if you would like to, as well as anyone else with any public comments. Thank you. That was my point of personal.
Good evening, everyone, Mr. Superintendent, board members. I guess Adam Smith, somewhere in here. Well, I don't have too much to say. I guess it speaks for itself. But with one thing with Howard Davis Gymnasium, I'm a disciple of Howard Davis. I think all that I am today, he is a big part of. I would rather it be Howard Davis Gymnasium than anything that's up for grabs right now, or for naming behind right now, that's up tonight. So I'm speaking on behalf of Mr. Davis Gymnasium. He is the king of Scotland, Scotlandville. So I think that's a great thing. Testament to him to have the gymnasium named after him. Thank you, Coach Noah.
Jeremy Noah, head basketball coach. Good evening, everyone. Thank y'all for having us. Just as he said, I am a disciple of Howard Davis through Mr. Carlos Sample. The work he has put in the community of Scotlandville, but not only Scotlandville, the Struma High School as well, basketball-wise, affecting young men's lives. If you could see the guys who come back to celebrate him year in and year out for all his accomplishments, to name the floor at him, I think, is minimal. But with naming the gym after Mr. Davis, the next thing would be the floor. So to honor Coach Sample, I think that would be wonderful for you all to pass and put on, as well as Mr. Howard Davis. And his wife was here, but she had to leave, take care of some family business. So thank you all.
So proud of my former student, Coach Noah. So proud.
Thank you, Mr. Cole.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. You want to finish?
I just want to also acknowledge Mr. Jackson for our principal, Mr. Jackson, for just coming to us to just be. I'm flattered and honored just to be considered to have a court named after me. So but I would be remiss if I didn't have my players on that court. So if you see the gym floor that you guys did this year is beautiful. And you see all the players' names on that floor, so without them, there would be no Carlos Sample Court. So I just want to appreciate them and acknowledge Mr. Jackson, Ms. Powell, for just considering, the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. So do I have a motion?
Yes,
Oh, I ain't see it.
Did you have any other public comments?
Well, Mr. No, that was all the comments. That's why I was asking, did you have anything else?
Okay. Well, I just want to say thank you to, number one, my colleagues for supporting this item, both at the committee of the whole, and I pray that I have your support even tonight as well. Thank you to Mr. Jackson and to the Scotlandville Alumni Association and all of the Scotlandville High family. I consider myself as a part of that family. Y'all know I told you I walked those halls as a student, but more importantly, I walked those halls with Coach Sample and with Coach Noah, who both spoke tonight, as we are former colleagues of each other. And then also just to say thank you for your work and for the way that you were able to mentor students day in and day out. Coach Sample, you weren't here 2 weeks ago when I mentioned that my son's first interaction with you was with us trying to get him to play basketball when he was like 6 at the Carlos Sample summer camp, basketball camp, and of course the child ended up being a nerd. He didn't want to play, but go figure. But still in all, we appreciate your work. We are glad that you are here. We're glad to give you your flowers while you can smell them, and I hope that you guys will come and check out a game, as Coach Sample may not be the head coach of the basketball team right now, but I think he still coaches from the sidelines, so to still see him in action is amazing. So thank you so much. And yes, I would like to make the motion that we approve this item.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Carla Paulus. I have a second by Mr. Lannis. And Mr. Lannis, you got the floor.
No, thank you, Madam President. I was going to say shout out to the whole team over there at Scotlandville. You all deserved it. Thank you, Ms. Carl Lewis, for bringing this forth and showing them the dedication. I have a message to Coach Sample from Coach Harvey Adger. He said to let you know, welcome to the other side of greatness. 2 amazing coaches with their names on the courts. Great job.
Thank you, Mr. Lannis. And so with the motion that's on the floor, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those in opposition say nay. Madam Secretary, can you please call for the vote?
Please vote. Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving along to item H, new business.
Item. Say congratulations to Carlos. Congratulations. You went to the state championship game. You went to the state championship game 11 times, and I was there 9 out of 11 times to support you. So keep up the excellent work. 14? Ah, correct. I went 9 out of the 14 times. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Okay, since our superintendent is done. Okay, so moving along to item H, new business. First item is student expulsion. Discussion, consideration of a request to appeal a student expulsion. Board members, have you had the opportunity to review the case? Do I have a motion to hear the matter at our next regular board meeting?
Item 1, yes.
Okay. Okay, item 2. No, that's fine. Do I need a second?
You need a second.
Okay. So I have a motion to hear the item by Mr. Martin, and I have a second by Ms. Sule. Thank you, guys. Moving along to 2, student expulsion, discussion, consideration of a request to appeal student expulsion. Board members, have you had an opportunity to review the case? Do I have a motion to hear the matter at the next regular board meeting?
Madam President, am I correct in saying that this particular item has been resolved?
It's resolved, yes, that's correct. So item 2 is resolved, so you don't have to. So item 3, student expulsion, discussion, consideration of a request to appeal a student expulsion. Board members, have you had the opportunity to review the case? Do I have a motion to hear the matter at the next regular board meeting? Moving along, item 4, student expulsion, discussion, consideration of a request to appeal a student expulsion. Board members, have you had an opportunity to review the case? Do I have a motion to hear the matter at our next regular board meeting? Moving along to item 5, student expulsion. Discussion, consideration of a request to appeal the student expulsion. Board members, have you had an opportunity to review this case? Do I have a motion to hear the matter at the next regular board meeting? Moving along to item 6, student expulsion, discussion, consideration of a request to appeal a student expulsion. Board members, have you had an opportunity to review this case? Do I have a motion to hear this matter at our next regular board meeting? Moving along to item I, organizational items. Ms. Sule.
Announcement of meetings. Committee of the Whole meeting to be held on April 2nd, 2026 at 5 p.m. in the Central Office Boardroom. Regular meeting to be held on April 16th at 5 p.m. in the Central Office Boardroom.